Hey everyone, welcome back. In today's video we are diving into something a little underrated but very useful, stud placeholders. You've probably seen them used with stud bind, but maybe you weren't quite sure what was going on. So let's break it all down step by step. Alright, so what are stud placeholders? In simple terms, they are part of the functional header and are used with stud bind to create function wrappers, kind of like pre-configured versions of functions where some of the arguments are already fixed and others are left to be filled in later. Let's take a simple example. Suppose you have this function. Now let's say you want to create a version of add where the first argument is always 10. That's where stud bind and stud placeholders come in. What this line does is create a new function object called add10, where the first parameter to add is fixed to 10 and the second is still open. Stud placeholders 1 means the first argument you pass to the new function. So now you've effectively delayed part of the function call. This is really useful when you need to adapt functions to fit into different APIs, especially ones that expect callbacks or function pointers with a specific signature. Let's think step by step about a real-world use case. Imagine you are working with a GUI library or some kind of event system that expects a function with just one argument, like a callback that takes a button ID. But your logic needs more context. You can use stud bind with placeholders to sneak in extra arguments and still satisfy the expected signature. You can chain multiple placeholders too. Now it swaps the two arguments. Kind of cool, right? One thing to note. While stud bind and stud placeholders are powerful in modern C++, Lambdas are usually the preferred way to do similar things. But for legacy code or quick adoptions, stud bind still has its place. That's it for today. Now you know what stud placeholders are and how to use them with stud bind to build flexible, partial function calls. If this helped clear things up, give it a like and subscribe for more C++ tips. Catch you on the flippity flip!